So we're going to continue on talking about compressors, and we're going to review a new compressor. Well, it's been out a few months, but a relatively new compressor from BAE, the 500C. It's a FET compressor, and a lot of the controls are very reminiscent of the good old 1176. If you know an 1176, you'll recognize a lot of these controls. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean obviously variable attack and release, but the ratio settings, the 2-to-1, 4-to-1, 8-to-1, 12-to-1, 20-to-1, and then all buttons in are all favorites, of course, of an 1176. So it has all of the same controls, but what it does have, and what I love about all modern compressors, pretty much all modern compressors, is it has a high pass filter. What's great about that? Well, if you've got a big low end, it won't blow out the compression. We've had many instances when we're mixing, like on my SSL, I don't have that function. And when I'm mixing, if I've got a big kick drum and it's huge, what happens? Every time the kick drum hits, the compressor does this. So that big kick drum is controlling the whole mix. It's making the whole mix pump. And sometimes it's a fun effect. You know, in dance music, we often take kick drums and use a sidechain function and control the compression on the rest of the track. So it goes nya, nya, nya. You know that effect. But for rock and roll and lots of other instances, you might want that low end to pass through. So having that high pass function is really cool. Again, this is a 500 series unit. And why do I love 500 series? Well, I love it because you can get in there and you can change out mic pre's and compressors and EQs and just have some fun experimenting with different stuff and getting something that works for you. And you're not buying a separate power supply, and you're not paying for all of that extra, you know, metal, that box, etc., which can add quite a lot of cost to a unit. The component cost of a unit might be $300 or $400, but the casing might be twice as much when it's in this huge case. So it's something to bear in mind. 500 series units are really convenient. And what I love about them is when you're traveling and you're going to different studios, you just turn up with your one little 500 series unit and you've got all your favorite mic pre's and compressors and EQs. So let's try it out. Okay, so here it is. It's plugged in, ready to go. We're going to take some drums, we'll take a vocal, we'll take some guitars, we'll do all kinds of fun things. We'll start off with some drums. Now, those of you that may know the original FET design, the 1176, it's a fixed threshold compressor. What does that mean? Well, that means there's like a place here where the compression starts. And so as you turn up the gain, the louder it gets, the more the amplitude, when it goes past that threshold, it starts to compress. And the way ratios work is like how many dB over 0 it goes before it lets one through. What does that mean? That means that basically when it goes 2 dB over that threshold, it lets 1 dB through. When it goes 4 dB over that threshold, it lets 1 dB through. Now, technically, people say limiting is when you get like 10-to-1 and above. So, you know, and again, that's open to interpretation. But that means 12 and 20 would be considered limiting. And the all buttons in is a very specific kind of effect that people love, which is kind of fun on drums. So let's play around with it. Okay, let's start up some drums. That's bypassed, obviously. We're on 2-to-1, so there's a lot going on, but it's not massively excessive because it's only a 2-to-1 ratio. Now, obviously, one of the big things we can hear is fairly similar output. So what we're doing is we're giving ourselves a little bit more gain to deal with the reduction there. So with the gain reduction off, this is an interesting thing. With the gain reduction off, this output knob is still working. So that's interesting. So the bypass is bypassing the effect. But the gain reduction, so I can still so if I turn the gain reduction off, this becomes a way for me to get some more gain. That's interesting. So what could that be useful for? You know what that could be useful? It could be useful for going through the circuitry and using the transformers inside this. It's kind of a nice thing I hadn't thought about. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so let's engage the high pass. So the high pass filter is letting some of the low end go. Look at the difference that's making. Look at the amount of crazy gain reduction. See, the kick is sticking at about -5 dB. Put the high pass in. So immediately dropping to 3. You can see how much low end is affecting the compression. So I'm going to keep the high pass on. I'm going to go to a more aggressive amount of compression. I'm going to go to the fastest release time, which is pretty tasty. Bypass that. That's pretty spanky. I like that. That's really tasty. So let's mess with the attack time. So that's the slowest attack time, the fastest. So what does that mean? Well, basically with that slowest attack time, it's taking a little extra time to let the compressor start working. Kind of like it all the way over to the left, because it's allowing, with the fast release time and the slow attack time, it's allowing an initial attack, that pat, tap, pat. It's almost SSL-y to me. Although of course it's an 1176 styled compressor. That's pretty tasty. I'm going to go to the 20. Now we are using extreme amounts of compression. I mean, you could get much subtler on this and just tuck things in, but I'm going a little nuts. All right, let's go all buttons in. That's really nice. That's the classic all buttons in, pop, tap, pop, pop, kind of drum sound. Bypass. Back in. I love that. The way that's set, slowest attack, fastest release, all buttons in, high pass allowing a bit more of the kick to go in. That's a very usable sound. There you go, great on drum. Cool, so now we have some electric guitar here. Now, with this particular electric guitar, there's a lot of low mid kind of. So if we put in the high pass, let's let it do some more. What I like about this, you see it's got 0.5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like there's a lot going on, but that's only 2 dB worth of reduction, 2 decibels worth of reduction. Hitting 3. That high pass function's pretty tasty. Listen to the low mids. Take it out. Just letting that low end breathe a little bit. I like that. I'm gonna go 4 to 1. I'm going to go to a fast attack, fast release. Slowing it down now. Bypass. I like that a lot. So what that's doing for me is it's preserving that low end so it sounds thick, but I'm still getting that in the guitar. It's kind of exaggerated. Trying to balance the volume so we're not being fooled by extra volume. This is bypassed. It's pretty tasty. Pretty tasty. You know, for tracking, I think that would be pretty special. Okay, cool. Let's try a vocal. High pass is still in.
Your tears to flow. Sometimes you need more than a handle.
Yeah, again, that's like the slow attack.
I need and don't you know, it won't be easy letting this love go. I never wanted your tears to flow.
I don't want it to grab hold. It's quite so long. I don't want quite so much compression. I'm on 4-1.
I need and don't you know, it won't be easy letting this love go. I never wanted your tears to flow.
Give it a little bit more attack.
Need more than a handle.
I think the vocals.
I need and don't you know.
Other thing we can do is just go up to 20-1.
Easy letting this love go.
So we're using it for a limiting.
Need your tears to flow. Sometimes you need more than a handle.
Bypassing.
I need and don't you know,
In.
it won't be easy letting this love go.
It's good. I mean, for some extra limiting,
Wanted your
very nice indeed.
flow.
What I like about the 4-1 setting on the vocal, let's press play and we'll have a listen.
Don't you know, it won't be easy letting
And the way we've got the fast release, fast attack, we've got a little So sometimes when I've spent a long time automating my vocal, you know, doing volume rides and getting it really full and loud and you're hearing everything, I lose the attack on the vocal because everything's so smooth and at the same level. So this setting here, once more.
Don't you know, it won't be easy letting this love go.
That's nice.
I never wanted your tears to flow. Sometimes you need more than a handle.
Yeah. The vocal itself is pretty close to the way I wanted it anyway, so just see what else this could be added. Okay, so let's hear some bass guitar. Bypass, let's bring it in. Definitely can tell that high pass is working there. Feel a little bit more lows coming through. The bass player sounds like he's playing slightly at an angle. I'm hearing this blip, 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 blip. The way you can hear that pick. Not that it will matter in a track, but it's interesting. Bypass it. So what's nice about it, so it's taking some of the high mids and compressing them more than the lows. So it's actually getting rid of a little bit of that aggressive blip, blip, blip kind of weird technique he's playing. Bypass. Back in, you hear that low come back in? So that's kind of a tasty thing. A lot of compressors are doing this now. And I think this has got a lot to do with digital technology, that plugins are coming in with these kind of functions. And now companies like BAE are putting these kind of functionality into the compressors. So it's really, really, really cool. I'm gonna get aggressive on it and go 20-1. Now, I'm gonna hit that threshold harder. That's nice. Turn the gain reduction off. Bypass. So if nothing else, those transformers are adding a little bit more low to it. Transformer. It's nice. El Lyco. So I've kept that with the attack on the slowest and the release on the fastest. So it's just letting some of that attack come through. Let's see if we can speeding up the attack. Actually nice. That's nice, very, very nice. It sounds fantastic on the bass there. I like what it's doing. I think this high pass function is a big deal. Really helps. Thank you ever so much for watching. This is a wonderful device. I really enjoyed it, particularly on drums and bass guitars and guitars, things that had a low end to it. The high pass filter function, the side chaining of that is fantastic.